My next guest is here because we've had these gents on before. If you're near your computer, or if you're listening to us over the web perhaps, go to 18greatestgolf.com. Now 18 is in the number, 18, 18greatestgolf.com. Take a look at that website. The website is there as a portal to support the books that we'll be talking about in just a second. And I, as I mentioned to you in the last segment, it's particularly pertinent at this time of year, although there isn't really a time that it is not, but it is particularly pertinent at this time of year because now we're getting into the holiday season. And, you know, I'm not looking at it from the perspective of saying, well, you have to decide what you're going to get for somebody else. This may be an occasion for you to decide what you want for yourself. I know what it's like. What do you get the guy that has everything? Gee, we don't know what to get Dad. The last thing golfers want are when people that are marginal golfers or non-golfers try to buy them golf gifts. Invariably, you will end up with a calendar a day or a box of golf balls that you will never use. I know the cliche is the tie, and you may get a few of those too. Well, again, in just a few seconds here, we're going to be talking about something that is entirely different. The latest book that has been put out from these gents, 18 Greatest Irish Golf Holes by Craig Morrison and Andrew Ross, is a book that, again, revealing my bias, not in any way attempting to deny it, it tugs at my heartstrings. I believe that when one publishes a book that has inherent words married with pictures, it is very, very difficult to capture the true essence of the place that you were writing of. For example, how does one describe the wind, the sound, the feel, the smell of the salt water against one's face, hopefully downwind on occasion, usually downwind going out and into your face coming back, frankly, in a proper lengths. Well, the 18 Greatest Golf series, and specifically the 18 Greatest Irish Golf Holes, is a book that has captured the essence of these great golf holes because what it really embraces is nuance. And the beauty is framed by spectacular photography by John Kernick. Really, really impressed with this book. Craig Morrison, one of the authors, is with us now. Craig, good day to you, sir. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Matt. Those are very kind words. Thank you very much.
Well, heartfelt indeed. You know, it was interesting to me. My copy of the book is number 4,804 of 5,000. So let me ask you this question. Was that always the plan in these 18 Greatest Golf books, that not only is it a book that is unique because of how it's done, but it's going to be unique just because there aren't that many of them available around the world?
Yeah, that's right. That's the plan. They're very specifically limited edition, and they're very collectible as well. So to keep them collectible, we've got to do them in low volumes. I'm really sorry, by the way, Matt, that we've not sent you a lower numbered book. Gosh, you're almost right there at the end of the print run. I've got to apologize.
Yeah, I did. Well, there you go. I didn't take offense to it, but now that you mention him, I'll write a letter to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dom's just said he wants to be number one. No, but in all seriousness, Craig, when you guys set out to do this series, you had a plan in mind. You had a vision in mind. It was a vision that had, I believe, more of an artistic bent to it than necessarily some plan to take over the world. But now within the medium that you're in, these beautiful full-size coffee table books, you know what? When it comes to illustrating beautiful places with words and pictures, well, you're taking over the world. How do you look at the merge and the marriage between intent and reality? Has it worked?
Has it worked? Yeah. I mean, I think we've surpassed ourselves. This all started with Andrew Ross and I, two Anglo-Scots in various bars in London, discussing, producing books about golf, and hopefully doing them better than other people had, or certainly bringing something different to them, raising the aesthetic bar. And I think we've managed to do it in no small part because of some of the people we've worked with. So our photographer who you mentioned, John Kernick, an Englishman working out of New York for the last 20 years, he's very much a true artist. And our art director, also our illustrator, an Irish-American, Siobhan Hardy-Royer, who lives in Toulouse, southwest France, she has definitely brought something different to, our golf publishing ambitions, her intelligent design and the way she's managed to present John's photographs with space and sensitivity. It's allowed us to realize our ambition to produce, hopefully, the world's most beautiful golf books.
Along the lines of that ambition to produce the world's most beautiful golf books, right now, Craig, if you could assume the position of being the eyes and the heart, if you will, of our listeners around the globe, take us through a few pages of your book and what people will see visually and an example of what they could read within.
Oh, my word. Well, I mean, we set about, this is, with the Irish book specifically, we set about, starting 2 years ago, trying to come up with a list of the 18 greatest Irish golf holes. We interviewed countless people, so we tried to select these holes by consensus. So we interviewed, golf addicts and aficionados all over the world, especially in Ireland, club champions, secretaries, general managers, whatever it might be, greenkeepers, even tour pros. And that allowed us to come up with our list of 18. And so their stories have actually permeated the pages of our books. And so we think that the book, presents Irish golf as it actually is. The photographs are all unfiltered, very pure, and the stories there are very much the stories of real people on the ground. I mean, I've swallowed countless books about Irish golf and about golf course architecture, but actually the words in here are, to an extent, the words of the people associated with the golf clubs, and the pictures of the golf courses are hopefully timeless and beautiful things that are going to last forever, look good forever.
Yeah, I think that's well put, that A, they're going to look good forever, but there's another element to it, in that it looks like they've already been there forever, built upon these links land, as though they weren't really built when you get right down to what they were, simply discovered, laying there in wait. You mentioned that in the photography, Craig, there are no filters, that this is its unvarnished look, and of course, to me, it's brilliant. And I wanted to comment on that for a second, because it seems to me that the lighting that one gets in the United Kingdom, but in particular in Scotland and very much so in Ireland, provides for the dramatic landscape, the way that the picture translates into, in your case, this book, with the brilliant colors that you use, the printing process that you used. It really, it's very difficult for me to look at picture books from golf courses in particular that I'm at often and not go, it's okay. But for some reason, the process that you guys have engaged in here, from the artistic process to the angle and the lighting to the printing process, I think you've come as close to capturing the real emotional feel one has when standing on a tee as anything I've seen.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Scotland and Ireland out here in exposed northern Europe are definitely blessed with quite dramatic lighting conditions, or certainly some of the time, when it's not covered in clouds. So that gives us an instant advantage. But, the photographer, his control of composition is brilliant, and somehow or other his color harmonies are always spot on, which is no small achievement in a world of greens and more greens, which is always the problem with producing a golf book. But yeah, he's managed to capture this interesting light and shade that you get in Ireland and Scotland. He's not been absurdly dramatic about it. There are no additional tinges, but he's managed to do it in a very truthful way. And his portraiture as well, which is another key part of the book, has been very honest and unstaged. Most of our subjects, they were pretty much taken by surprise. So what we've got here is, not golf propaganda for the great golfing culture of Ireland, perhaps in the style of some, tour operators' books or whatever, but this is very much the real thing. But we had this natural advantage anyway with Scotland and Ireland, where the weather is often wild and it gives you a little bit of movement, if you like, in the picture. And despite it being cold, there is this kind of high pressure and clarity that you get here in Northern Europe, which translates well into photographs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What part of that drama and that contrast that Craig is talking about is illustrated. It's page 159 of the book. Now, bear in mind, folks, this is a coffee table book. It's really a proper book in that regard in terms of it's a full format. It's the type of book that you can sit with for hours and for years of enjoyment as you thumb your way through it. And there's a photograph on that page of the 12th hole at the Old Head in Kinsale, Ireland. It's a dogleg left par 5. And the challenge of this hole is how much you want to bite off with your drive, because you're hitting over cliffs that literally plummet hundreds of feet down into the crashing Atlantic. And the way the Millennium have carved the rocks, including these tunnels that it has literally bore right through the land. There's a land bridge you come in, and off in the distance you see the ruined remnants of a castle and a keep. I mean, that... If I had to pick one photo from the book, and it'd be difficult to do that, Greg, but if I had to pick one photo that speaks to what you were laying out as your objective from a photography standpoint, that one I think screams to me, because the contrast between the rocks and the ocean, and as you said, the various shades of green, is as beautiful a golf photo as I've ever seen. And again, this is one where upon that tee I have stood many times. It really makes me feel like I'm back there again. I really feel like this is the vistage that you get standing on that tee box.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, yeah, the Old Head golf links, which you're talking about there, represents at least partly what we've been trying to do with these books. I mean, that is, this sort of 2-mile-long promontory which sticks out into the Atlantic off the south coast of Ireland, and it's always been there, or almost always been there, let's say. But only in recent years, has someone come along and built something there, done something. So they've taken nature, and it is very, very wild, very natural there, and and created something on top of it, something which I would say, in the case of Old Head, is an artistic achievement in its own right. So we've tried to do a little bit of that with these golf courses, present them artfully.
Craig, I've not tried to deny in any way my bias towards this book about great golf holes in Ireland or the product that you put together. You guys contacted me in advance and asked the same questions, and I wanted to let you know that I was very, very, very much honored by that. It's not something in any way that I took for granted. It's amazing to see the results of your efforts manifest in this book. Extremely well done, folks. It's called 18 Greatest Irish Golf Holes. Craig, could you tell our listeners how can they pick up a copy of this limited edition book?
Well, if they're lucky enough to be a regular visitor to one of the most, to any number of the most prestigious golf clubs in the United States, be it Seminole or Baltusrol or others, then there's a reasonable chance they might find them there in their pro shops. But perhaps easier still, they can visit our website, which is www.18greatestgolf.com, and they can purchase both books there and in fact, photographic prints from the books as well.
Fantastic. That 18 is the number 18, 1-8. 18greatestgolf.com, folks, if you'd like more information or to pick up a copy of one of these fabulous books. The new one is 18 Greatest Irish Golf Holes. It's by Craig Morrison and Andrew Ross. Craig Morrison has been our guest. Thank you, Craig. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks, Matt.